National Federation of Women's Institute are often being asked if they would ask their members to offer hospitality to our servicemen and women. And often it's for servicemen and women from our allied friends. They're in a foreign country, they feel a little bit homesick, and many of the service organisations would like women at home to be able to offer them a little bit of home comfort. Well, last year I more or less adopted a dear Polish lad in our Air Force, and he spent the Easter with us. Now this year, the Secretary of the English Speaking Union have asked the National Federation if we'd be willing to give a home for the length of their furlough to American servicemen who are very keen to see firsthand those parts of Britain that they've heard so much about. Now, their furlough can last for up to 8 days, but we have been assured that from 7 days onwards they will be issued with a ration card, which will obviously help us feed them. If it's only a couple of days, only 2-3 days though, they will bring a few items of food with them to help us cater for them. Not only that, the English Speaking Union are asking the servicemen many questions about what they would like to see when they're on their furlough, whether it's fishing, golf, tennis, whether they like cycling around the countryside, or even whether they'd enjoy helping on farms, and that means they can be fitted to a family which will really suit their interests and what the family can give them. Now, of course, this Sunday, Mothering Sunday, is a special day, and I'm sure that these service men and women are going to be really missing their mothers as the British population celebrate Mothering Sunday. Well, I've got a new American serviceman coming, so I thought I'd try to make him feel at home by being a second mother and giving him a meal that he would have at home with his own mother. So I've bought Ambrose Heath's new cookery book, Simple American Dishes. In it, he admits that the recipes aren't exactly as they would be in America because, of course, are restrictions on rations. But there's a lovely traditional American recipe for vegetable upside down cake that I'm going to show you now. Now, this recipe is actually called American baking powder biscuits. It's very similar to our scone recipe, but it uses quite a bit of baking powder, and it's a very versatile recipe. The Americans use it for sweets recipes. I don't know if you've heard of American shortcake, but this is the recipe, the basic recipe for the shortcake. It can be used in lots of other ways. Now, first of all, I'm using half a pound, 8 ounces of plain flour, which I'm going to sieve, with also 3 level teaspoons of baking powder. Now, this is far more baking powder than we would use, but it does make for a lovely recipe. So pop in 1, 2, 3 level teaspoons of your baking powder and half a teaspoon, a level teaspoon of salt. And we're going to sift that into the flour and into the bowl. Now, I'm using an American sieve. I'm sure my serviceman will recognise it if he sees it in the kitchen. It's from my cousin who went to live in America, and she sent it to me before the war because it just does such a lovely job of sifting, and she thought I might like a new sieve for my kitchen. So there we've got the £1/2 pound, 8 ounces of flour, 3 of baking powder, ½ teaspoon of salt, well sifted. Now I'm going to put that away for a minute because I'm now going to reconstitute 1 dried egg. So that's 1 tablespoon of egg powder and 2 tablespoons of tepid, room temperature water, not cold ladies, remember that, not straight from the tap. And I'm going to push the powder against the side of the bowl with the handle of my tablespoon. That really does make for a very good utensil for mixing lump-free dried egg. Now that's nicely mixed in, I'm going to pop that to the side for a minute before I add it to my dry ingredients. The next job is to grease very thoroughly a baking tray and then add mixed vegetables, cooked or tinned. I've got a mixture here of carrots, a few parsnips, some swede. I have used half a tin of the peas that my American serviceman gave me the last time he called, just for a special treat. Now to that I'm going to pop a bit of flavouring, salt and pepper, and also some liquid, which here will be 1 gill of stock, the vegetable stock that I cook the vegetables in. Pop that over the vegetables, spread them out a bit, and that's ready for the baking powder biscuit dough to go on top. Now let me return to my dry ingredients. I'm going to pop in 2 ounces of fat, and with my knife I'm going to mix that into the pastry, cutting it through. Now when that's cut through finally into the flour, we're ready to put our liquid in. And I'm taking just under, scant, ½ pint of milk, and I'm going to pour my dried egg into the milk and give it a good stir. Make sure you get all of that precious dried egg from our American chums used up and into the milk mixture. Give it a stir and then add this into your dry flour, baking powder, salt, fat, and now your egg and milk. Now we're going to pop that onto the work surface, and you can either roll or pat it to cover the tin of the vegetables. You can feel the baking powder starting to work already. So rather than rolling, I'm just going to pat this out to a shape to fit my tin. It wants to be about 1/2 inch thick. Now that's going to go straight in as fast as you can, a hot oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. Just making sure that all the vegetable there is covered. And in it goes. Well, that's the clearing up done now. I've just got time to run upstairs and pop on a decent frock, sort my hair out because he'll be here in a minute and that won't take long in the oven. I do hope his train isn't delayed. That should be ready. Oh, lovely, lovely. Just cooked beautifully. Now that will stay in the tin for 10 minutes to rest. I'll get on with the vegetables and make some gravy. Well, that's turned out really well. Look, the gravy's made, the vegetables are just going to be put in the tureens, and I know we should be saving fuel and eating in the kitchen, but as it's a special day, we've lit the fire in the front room. Oh, I think that's him now. I better start putting this on the table.